I looked around at all of these extremely successful people from brand name schools with brand name degrees who were very unhappy. I thought money, if it didn't buy happiness, it would create the conditions for me to be happy. And talking to people who grew up around it, who grew up with it, who don't need it, it was like, oh, so maybe that's not the answer. What has become more apparent is that we're all completely heads down in what we're doing. And that's when we're experiencing drift. Then when I ask, what are you building toward? I don't know. I'm just kind of doing it. I'm telling you, corporate strategic planning frameworks going crazy all around me, and I never applied them to myself. These are billion-dollar companies making billions of dollars more using the exact same thing. Why wouldn't we use this for ourselves? That is what gives me so much energy for this, because I feel like a corporate Robin Hood in a way, and I'm like, everyone should use this.
Welcome to Hyperfocus and High Performance with Christine Howe, where we explore how you can work with your brain, build your dreams, and live on purpose with more clarity, creativity, and presence. Okay, Don, welcome to Hyperfocus and Performance. Don Rauzelle. So happy you were with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're just going to start off on the wonderings and everything. So when you were traveling the world you were kind of living the dream. You sort of drew a line in the sand and said, I am going to put a stop to this way and I'm going to go this way. And it was very dramatic. And so let's just paint a picture for the audience. What do you do today? And then we'll go backwards and find out who you were. Let's just start with a little snapshot of who's Don Rauzelle.
Yeah. So today, I'm essentially a full-time traveler, nomad, for lack of a better term. I'm essentially traveling the world, helping people get direction and take action. So that's the simplest way to put it. I think if we put it in coaching terms, I'm doing life design. If we put it in strategy terms, I'm doing personal strategic planning. But really, the entire course of this is traveling, exploring, learning from others, and helping connect people into the things that they really, truly want. That was something that I had been missing for a very, very long time. And once I discovered, oh, wait, all of the things that I'm learning in corporate, I can apply to myself. Why am I not doing this? And I'm telling you, corporate strategic planning frameworks going crazy all around me, and I never applied them to myself. And so what I finally did, a whole new world opened up, and I realized that, I can actually break my vision down into small, achievable steps that will allow me to achieve and do the things that I want. And my life as it stands today is a manifestation of that.
That's beautiful. I love it. And that gives a picture of where you were. So you were corporate Don, and you had sort of done all the things that you were expected to do. And it sounds like, and I didn't know the latchkey kid part, so you went from latchkey kid to corporate success. Is that fair to say?
It was a long road. So so at the beginning, this all starts in good old Charlottesville, Virginia, my hometown. I still love that place. It's interesting, as I travel, everything that I love about the places that I visited, my hometown has somewhere. Things that I have discovered, things that I haven't discovered. But that's been really enlightening on this journey. But, I grew up, I'm the youngest of two. So I have an older sister, 5.5 years older. That created some interesting dynamics as well, being the younger boy, the older girl. There's the maturity differences that happen. Also, so when she's 18 and I'm 13, there's a big maturity gap there. And we didn't really even out until probably I was about 30 and she was 35. So, she's my older sister. We're very similar, but we're also very different. My mom and dad, they were administrators. My mom worked for the Department of Defense. Dad worked for the University of Virginia. So we were very much a family of how do we remove friction for other people. That was how we ran. And so the same thing happened at home.
Hold on. Department of Defense marries UVA.
Yes. So now,
hey, this is good.
When they first met, where were they? Because they were introduced by a friend. I think they were both working at this company called Acme, which did like filing solutions in the 70s. But my dad ended up staying because they were both in the Central Virginia area. So my dad went to the major employer there, which was the University of Virginia. And then my mom had other ambitions and she decided to work for the government. A lot of her family out of Arkansas worked for the government. So she went to work for the then National Ground Intelligence Center, which a lot of my friends would make fun of me for. They're like, your mom works at the spy building. And
Oh,
I was like,
great.
I don't really know the difference. She still picks me up from school. But Christine, come to find out later in life. So there was a 2-year period where my mom would drop me off at school. A car would come pick her up, drive her 90 minutes up to Northern Virginia to go to the Pentagon for some projects. Then at about 3, drive her back to Charlottesville in time to pick me and my sister up from school. And then we would get home. We didn't know the difference. It was like, well, we're going to eat dinner and we're going to do homework and we'll probably watch some TV and go to bed and get up and do it again the next day. So didn't know that for about 25 years. But
Really? She just took you to school. Bye. And then went
yeah,
off at secret life as
yeah,
protecting the rest of us while we're living our civilian lives. She's making sure it can happen.
exactly.
That's so
Exactly.
cool. That is so cool. I love your mom already.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Okay. So sorry about that. I got a little, because I've toured UVA. I've done it. I was in DC for a
Oh,
semester when I was
fantastic.
24. And so I just feel like I have this feeling of like,
Yes.
yay. Oh, that's so great.
Okay.
Okay.
So for context, like the house I grew up in was a 15-minute walk from campus. So
Oh,
on football game days, we would often see the influx of cars parked all up and down our street, people getting out, going up to the games. And you could hear it from the house. You could hear the band going. You could see the lights on game day night. So it was very special growing up in a college town. Can't beat it. Can't beat
yeah.
it. Now I did go to Virginia Tech for my undergrad, the rival, because I needed to get out of town. But
Yeah.
you cannot beat a college town. You really, really can't.
The energy is so great and it's always there. And then it's quiet for a little bit and then it's energized and then it's just the
Yeah.
locals and then it's
Yeah.
exciting. That's so
There's
cool.
like a true, there's like a natural breathing. There's a breath to it. So yeah, it's really cool.
I'd love to introduce you to something I created specifically for brains like yours. Think Time Membership is a guided neuroplanning membership designed to help you align with your design, work with your brain, and build your dreams with more clarity, confidence, creativity, and presence. Instead of forcing yourself into systems that don't fit you, you'll learn how to plan in the native, creative language of your brain using my neuroplanning framework. Love your design. Then dream, decide, do, review. Inside the membership, you'll join a community of growth-oriented leaders for weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual guided planning experiences, so you'll never have to figure it out all alone. Your membership also includes access to the Think Time Neuroplanner, a whole brain, visual planning system designed to help you harness the strengths of your mind instead of constantly fighting against it. And when you join, you'll receive access to the neuroplanning course and tutorials, planning tools and templates, live group coaching, monthly Q&A, and a live onboarding session so you can begin to use the system right away. If you're ready to increase your opportunity to experience more clarity, calm, confidence, creativity, meaningful productivity, and presence while getting more of the right things done in less time with peace, not pressure, visit think-time.com/podcast. I'd love to help you build a life that works with your brain, aligns with your design, and reflects what matters most.
That's really cool. Okay. So I derailed you. So continue. So your parents, they met and they raised a daughter and a son in Charlottesville, Virginia. And then as you were growing up, I mean, what were you motivated by? Like, what did you want to be? Like when you're 8, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, this is a great question. So I wound up in probably spaces that I shouldn't have.
Okay.
Because I had a mother who knew how the game worked because of the people that she was around, and the things that she was exposed to. And so very early on, she knew I needed to get into gifted classes and get me access to better teachers, better resources, other students who are smart. And it worked. I was able to get around the right folks, the right influences. I was able to learn more about myself. I was able to get a more creative education, and that served me well coming through essentially middle school, high school, on into college.
Okay.
Now, the shadow side of that was I wasn't actually a gifted student, and it's taken a very, very long time to say that out loud. It's like if you're walking down the street or you just meet someone like, "Hey, what was your GPA?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Get out of here." Like,
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't.
It just doesn't happen.
Yes. But typically, if your GPA is anything less than a 3.5, you're not going to be necessarily open to just saying, I had a 3.3. There's a different treatment to it. And at least for me in my house growing up, it was like, figure it out, do well, like do your best, put it all in and work hard, because that's the thing that no one can take from you. I think the working hard and the hard work sometimes got a little bit muddled in the house because both of my parents grew up poor, and they knew it's like, if you put your head down and you focus and you get it done, opportunities will open up, which was true for them at that time. I think for my sister and I, of course, the world had changed a little bit. Even our relationship with race, gender, sexual orientation, politics, all of these things were changing and evolving for better and for worse in different spaces. But it forced me to rethink, like, if I take an honest assessment at my skill sets, the things that I'm good at, my capabilities, where do I actually want to apply that energy?
Yeah.
And as I got deeper into my career, and as I looked around and I saw I am essentially becoming my parents professionally, I started to kind of evaluate, like, well, if I didn't have to worry about money, how would I spend my time?
I love that question so much. And when did you ask it?
Yeah. So I first asked this question, I want to say it was in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, it was it was actually June of 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, when this first started turning over for me. At this point, I was working with a contractor, and I was inside of Google. So I was working inside of Google full time at this point. And I looked around at all of these extremely successful people, from brand name schools with brand name degrees, who were very unhappy. And I know this has been beaten to death in many, many circles, like what happens in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
I became more of an observer. Like, I wonder what's driving folks to continue to come here. And as I would ask questions, and I'll admit at this point, because I was a contractor, Google contractors wore a red badge, bright red badge. If you were a Google employee, you had a white badge. It was almost like it was a joke. It was a scarlet letter if you were a contractor, because it was like very clear you don't belong here. So that was also interesting. But the full-time folks that I was able to talk to, and I would ask, like, what's motivating you? Like, why are you here? Like, what have you always wanted to work at Google? And it would vary from like, this has been a dream since I was young, to I don't actually need to work, but my parents wanted me to do something, and they know the senior VP of engineering in this obscure department. And so, like, here I am. And Christine,
that's my least favorite answer in the world. Can I just say that? Least favorite.
And this is what's so interesting, because when I heard that answer, it was like, I had the same reaction. It was like, I don't like hearing that. And then it's like, as it passed through me, it became, oh man, so you're trying to get to the other side too. You're trying to also break free from the thing that has been shackling you your entire life.
Yeah.
For me, it was, how do I break free to establish myself on my own? How do I earn the money to do that? For them, it was, how do I break free and establish myself on my own without my parents' money?
Mm,
I'd never thought about that.
that's cool. That's really interesting.
And I think that began to unravel the ideas around, well, wait a minute. I thought money, if it didn't buy happiness, it would create the conditions for me to be happy.
Okay.
And talking to people who grew up around it, who grew up with it, who don't need it and are still in these spaces, it was like, oh, so maybe that's not the answer. I will do what the universe says and learn from other people's mistakes, because
Yeah.
you're not going to have enough time to learn them all yourself.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely illuminating. And when I began to think about like, what would make me happy if I didn't have to worry about money? How would I want to spend my time every day? That began my journey toward this very path that I'm on today.
I love that. So it was a seed. I call this like the little seed that gets planted and it goes under the ground and it's growing and it's about to develop and it doesn't really come up for a while. Nobody knows it's
Yes.
there,
Oh my
but
goodness.
you
Okay.
water it.
As you mentioned, planting seeds, I
Yes.
want to share with you a quote from one of my favorite moral philosophers.
Okay.
His name's James Allen. So this is short. As the plant springs from and could not be without the seed, so every act of a man springs from the hidden seeds of thought and could not have appeared without them. This applies equally to those acts called spontaneous and unpremeditated as to those which are deliberately executed. And this was also a big influence on my life during that time as well. Like I was just inhaling all of this stuff because it didn't have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Integrity, temperance, patience, honesty, sincerity. It's like everyone can benefit from that, regardless of the outcomes that you seek.
Mm.
The interesting thing about this is if you take something like trustworthiness,
Mm-hmm.
we think of trustworthiness as a noble quality. Okay.
Yes, I do. Guilty. Yes.
But arguably, trustworthiness is a neutral quality. It only becomes noble or nefarious depending on the context.
Good point.
Here's what I mean.
Mm.
A church pastor
Mhm.
wants trustworthy deacons, trustees, deaconesses. A drug dealer wants
Mhm.
trustworthy people downstream from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
A boss wants trustworthy employees. A cult leader wants trustworthy lieutenants.
Mm.
So the mechanism of trustworthiness ends up
Mm.
being completely neutral and just contextual.
Mhm.
And that was one of the other big lessons that I began to learn as I dove deeper into what is the moral grammar that we
Mhm.
all use? How do we shape the world around these sets of principles that we apply? It's something that I'm also doing now as I travel, understanding what's the moral language of this place that helps
Mhm.
inform me, which I do want to mention a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
more. But yeah, this really laid the foundation for how all of this began to start. And it forced me to start looking around myself and actually observe and pay attention to say, like, maybe this isn't where I want to be. Maybe this isn't the best use of my gifts and talents. Maybe these aren't the people that I want to be around. Maybe this isn't the way that I want to use my energy and my life. And I just had the choice. I can keep complaining about it or do something about it. And I would always tell my team, don't talk about it, be about it. So
Oh, yes.
that.
That's so good. So you're sitting there, you're successful, you've been even if your success is the scarlet letter within Google, you were still in Google. You were doing it. You were showing up. And as a corporate employee, were you training people in frameworks of performance, strategic thinking? Is that what you were doing in the corporate world already?
Yeah. So at Google, that was the start. So I was running a team of email marketers there. So we were working with, at the time, Think with Google. The tricky thing about that system is that they had very sensitive email addresses. Anyone from Beyonce to Barack Obama. It's like Barack Obama also has a Gmail account. So we were in charge of all of this very sensitive information. After that, I moved to electronic arts. So I moved into the video game industry where I was doing something similar in terms of content operations and content programming. But this was now internal, full-time at EA, and had access to all of the internal resources, had the influence, was able to make those moves. And that's where my strategic eye began to really open, because I saw, if we don't understand where we're all going, we're never going to get there. And something one of my mentors always says today, which would have absolutely applied back then, was we're not blind necessarily because we don't see. We're blind because no one has shown us where to look. And that ties perfectly into all of the strategic planning work that begun to take shape. So by the time I got to electronic arts, this is where the seed started germinating. That's what it was. The planning seed began to germinate at electronic arts.
Cool. Yeah. So it's interesting. So as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing that you were kind of a reflective, observant person already. Then you were trained in kind of this gifted out of the box thinking. And then you were equipped with this strategic thinking. And I feel like all of these qualities sort of have rolled into this place where you are now, which is really taking all that strategic thinking, that self-reflection, and that out of the box thinking, if we're honest, watching you travel the world, and then really helping people take that into their own lives. And so, okay, so tell us, like, today you are traveling the world, you're helping take all of this strategic thinking, self-reflection, really just saying, well, what do we want to keep? What do we not want to keep? This is my favorite part about creative thinking, is like, we don't want to throw everything out, but we want to really sift and sort and say, what is it that is worth keeping? And so I hear that a lot in what you're saying. So how are you taking just all of who you were from the time you're little, growing up with your parents, all of this into the equipping to this line in the sand moment where you're like, actually, this has been great and I want to go a different direction. So then paint the picture. What are you doing? Help people understand. When they go onto your Instagram and they see you in a different part of the world every time they see you, like, where's the Dawn? That's why I started it. Like, where in the world is Dawn Rauzelle? And that's just for those of you who are in our decade. If you don't share a decade, you're not going to know what we're singing. But yeah, I can't wait. So share with everybody what you're doing right now. How are you helping people find clarity on where they're going?
Yes. So now that I travel full time, what I have in tow with me is essentially it's a free AI powered conversation that is a corporate grade personal strategic planning tool.
So cool.
Powered by ChatGPT, free for anyone to access. Pretty much subscribe to my Substack and it's right there for you to jump in on. And the purpose driving behind this is, after spending so many years in corporate environments where there were all of the tools, resources, and access that we could possibly imagine, and everyone in theory knew, here's what we're working toward, here are the company values, here are our company priorities, here's all of those items, and still having a question of, why is everyone still running off in all these different directions?
Good point. Yep.
And so that was the genesis of it. But then as I've been traveling and meeting individuals and learning about people's lives, learning about what people are working toward, what has become more apparent is that people are just we're all completely heads down in what we're doing. And
Yep.
that's when we're experiencing just kind of drift, Christine,
Mm,
drift.
yeah. Yeah.
You talk to someone every Christmas, there's at least one person who's like, it's Christmas again?
Yeah.
It's the 4th of July again? College
Sure.
football is starting again?
Yeah.
And everything is on a loop.
Yeah.
But then when I ask, well, what are you building toward? Looks like, I don't know. I'm just kind of doing it. Well, okay. If there's something that you do want to build toward, or you want to find some direction, let's
Mhm.
talk.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about this work, and I'm sure you've experienced it as well, like you have to want it. It's like giving a thirsty person water. You can put it right there on the desk and it's up for them to drink it as much as they want, as quickly as they want, or not drink it at all. But what has been most rewarding through this process is seeing people have epiphany and create epiphany out of information they already have. So the
Yeah.
tool that I created called the Clarifier is intended to do one of two things. It's either to make sense of the nebulous kind of disparate drifting ideas that are in your head, to get down to a very clear, here's my vision, here's my mission, here are my priorities, this is what I'm working toward.
Yeah.
Or if you're someone who's like, I know what's important to me. My family is most important to me.
Mhm.
Then when I ask the question, what are you building toward with your family? Well, I'm not quite sure. Okay, well, let's get that into writing. Let's get what's in your head and in your heart out onto paper. This is something that you can share with your partner. You all can be aligned. If your kids are old enough to understand, it's something that you share with your kids. This is our family vision. This is what we're working toward. Chrissy, the thing I cannot stress is that these are billion-dollar companies making billions of dollars more using the exact same thing. Why wouldn't we use this for ourselves? And you don't have to worry about coordinating with, crabby Steve in IT and, Kimberly in accounting who may not be helpful. This is all you.
Yeah.
This is all you and your work. And that is what gives me so much energy for this, because I feel like a corporate Robin Hood in a way. And I'm like, everyone should use this.
I love it. So I did this today. I don't know if you saw my name come through or not, but before we got hopped on, I told you I'm doing it before we talk next time. So
Yeah.
I did the clarifier and it was so fun just to have, it's like, yes, I did know that, but not in that form. And then the questions that you asked, I was like, wait a minute, let's go back to that point. Don't go to the next, but you said something over there. Let me ask about that. I want to dig deeper into relationships. I want to dig deeper into like the purpose that I bring into this. I want to dig deeper into, well, what about my work and then my family? And it even helped me sift through like having like two priorities, knowing which one's the most foundational and why. Like it really pulled out a lot of things for me. So I loved it. It was awesome.
I
And
love hearing it. Yeah.
yeah. And so I like doing the conversation. And I think you even said that. You even suggested like put it on the talking. So you're just kind of talking through it like you are with a friend, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The verbal dictation, and there are some studies that are showing that like dictated rambling from us, AI does a lot better with just organizing it, which is a lot of the trouble that many, and I'll just speak for myself as an introvert, spend a lot of time in my head. So there's a lot of thoughts that are happening and colliding and trying to navigate one another. And when I can just spit it all out to AI, it's like, it's helpful.
It like would say it back and say, I think this is what you're saying. Is that right? And I'm like, well, yes, or well, no. And so I was like, yes, but also this. And so then I was able to kind of get down into some of my own insights because it was really cool. I was like, I can't wait to do this thing.
By the way, I'm so happy to hear it was valuable. There's like an allegory or an analogy, but the thing that comes to mind is like, I felt like for a long time, I was a boy living in a house with 100 rooms, and each room had something different in them. One room had toys. One room had puzzles. One room had pictures. One room, my, you know, uh, books.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I want to spend my time. And then there were even some rooms that I never even went into and that I forgot even existed in this house. And, and then one day my aunt came over and I was talking to her and sharing, you know, I'm trying to figure out what it is that I want to do. Again, this is all of my story.
Mhm.
And she says, well, let's go look in your rooms. And so she walks with me around to the different rooms, but instead of changing anything in the rooms, she just pulls one thing out of each room that we visit and she lines them all up. And when I step back and see one item from all of the rooms lined up, now I see something different. I don't necessarily see a puzzle, a toy, a car, a book. I see what they now all have in common. I now see that I'm attached to patience. I am paying attention to things like flow. I am keyed into nature. All of those things get represented some way in all of these different objects and rooms. And so that is basically what this clarifier is doing in terms of helping to organize all of the thoughts that are already there so that you can create new insight from the things you already have.
That's really beautiful. It's really great to say like a sampling. And it's not that you're going too deep into one little area, because so often we can really almost detail your workouts, right? And make it that it's so detailed and you get results in your workouts, or detail your work, right? But then you're saying, no,
Right.
like, let's see, who are you across all the settings? And let's take the
Yeah.
essence of you and have it all work as a symphony is what I'm hearing. So it's like not every room is the same. They're all different, but you have the different instruments playing
Right.
to figure out. Just take your room analogy to the symphony orchestra. It's like,
yeah. No, exactly. It's you've got your cello, you've got your viola, you've got your violin, you've got your bass, you've got your cymbals, you've got everything else, and they're all playing one piece.
I love it.
And I think that's what makes this so exciting for me. And yeah, it's like everyone use it. I have a couple of folks that have used it repeatedly. I encourage you to use it repeatedly. I was looking at my end of year objectives, and then I was like, well, what am I doing this quarter? And then someone even used it. What am I doing this week? I have a big week. I just need to focus in this week. So it's intended to be flexible. Just have the conversation.
It's a lot like think time. I feel like it's a lot of like really saying like, where are you going? Like, let's dream as big as you want to. Like, I opted for the 10-year. They said, what time frame? And I was like, 10 years. Let's look at 10 years and where are we going? And what are the priorities? And so, yeah, I can't wait to dive back in and do a week and see what comes up as I look at a week.
Yeah.
So great. So mine came up, and mine, I really like the vision. So here's my vision.
What was your time frame?
A decade. I did
Decade.
10.
Okay.
I did a 10-year, so the next 10 years, the vision is for me to help you live fully step by step, was what I came up with.
Ooh.
That cool? I'm excited.
Okay.
This is the mission that it came out with, which was to help ADHD visionaries harness their mind with neuroplanning so they build their dreams without burning out. So I had some of that already. So, I've worked on that a little bit. So I was able to give some of that to it, but I really liked, it gave me like 3 vision statements to choose from. And I was like, helping you live fully step by step. That's totally what I'm about. It's about optimizing. It's about fully becoming who you're meant to be. That's my jam. So it picked it up really well. So my priorities came up with, number 1, getting the message out there publicly. And so my priority right now is shifting from, being in the nitty gritty of all the details to actually I need to be the voice and I need to go meet people and talk to people and tell people and go have a podcast and all these things. So it says getting the message out there publicly through speaking, writing, and public engagement. So those are my number 1. So number 2 was embodying the vision.
Yes.
And so just like you, like I can't have my mission without really doing and being it. And so it would be a complete fail in my mind if I got the message out there and I wasn't actually living the message. So that was number 2. And then number 3 is cultivating deep connection. And it's with myself, with God, and those closest to me. And so isn't that cool? Those are my 3 priorities.
So it's like, because what I'm hearing from those 3 are share it with the world, be it yourself, but then more importantly, share it with the people around you and the people that you love.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
ultimately that's where the goodness is. That's where the goodness is.
I think that there's like, for me, that third point on the deep connection is, so we are in our 40s. Now we've established, we know who, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego was a thing for us when we were little. So, but what I've realized is that I've been in relationships for decades, but alone. And that's something that's my line in the sand where I'm like, no, like I'd rather be alone and alone
Mhm.
than in a relationship and alone. So like I said that wrong. Than in a relationship and alone. And so, and we've had conversations already. And so we know that's something we share. We don't want to have relationships that aren't relationships. And so, I think it's something that I'm really convicted about going forward. And so I want authentic, true relationships with God, with myself, and with others for me. And so when I do this life, like I don't want to do it alone anymore. I don't want to do it with others and alone or even alone. I want to do it in authentic, deep relationships. And so that's the third piece where, I always say with Think Time, like, I don't want people to get to the end of their race and not have a cheering section there. Like, we got to build that community and those connections along the way. So,
It's like those people rooting for you, those people encouraging you. I feel like that's an underutilized word, encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the best teachers encourage you. And Christine, you said something else that really resonated. And I'll admit, like I grew up religious. I'm not as religious now, but I'm extremely spiritual. But what I heard you say is like, I want to take God's heavenly energy and be the one to transfer it into our earthly goodness, from spiritual goodness into earthly goodness, and I will be the vessel. Like, yes.
Yeah. I want those connections to be, the conduit. A conduit is a word for that. Like, a conduit of that. So let it flow through me. And there is so much, and even as being raised in a religious world, there are things that, midlife we're like, well, that was great. That's not great. And there's what I love about your journey that I think is really special is you are reflecting. And so self-reflection and that ability to look at, who am I? Who do I want to be? What's this all about anyway? Like, I'd rather have a conversation with someone who's thinking those thoughts and we don't land in the same place than someone who's just like, oh, we agree on everything and let's just hang out with people we all agree with. We're not going to think about it. We're not going to talk about it, but we're going to agree. No, thank you. So there's a beauty in I think self-reflection is one of the most important characteristics, and self-awareness has been rated as one of the top traits of a leader. And so if you're not reflecting, I don't think you can be self-aware. And if you're not self-aware, I don't think you can be others aware. And that's just scientifically based on the mirror neurons. And there's going to be my neuro nerdy add to this conversation. But like, if we're not self-aware, and I've been not self-aware a lot of my life. And so there's an uncovering, but I do think that going through these self-reflection practices, like you're talking about, doing the clarifier and just saying, well, what do I want for this day, this week, this month, this quarter, this year, this decade, this life? Like, pick a time frame. That's awesome. So have you had people like give you the feedback about like what's it like for them when they're going through it? I know for me, I just said mine, it was amazing. Like, helped me to get these really clear 3 points. And I'm like, that's it. My role's here. And I know what I'm doing. So the next 10 years covered, I'm good. I did the clarifier.
And it's at least directional. I love, thank you for sharing it, because that's exactly right. And that has been I felt like that's been the experience that I've had, the other user feedback that I've received has been, you have helped me just shape and provide edges
Mm.
to what's been on my mind. Or, I'm kind of bumping up against like, well, what's next? I've already finished all the things that I need to do for this chapter. The world keeps turning. So what am I doing now? And just getting clarity there. Because again, the problem that I'm really focusing on is drift. It's
Mm.
drift caused by autopilot.
Okay.
And when you start to unlock the drift and you're like, well, maybe I should begin paddling in this direction.
Yeah.
Lots of new things begin to open up, new energy, new vitality, new excitement, new relationships, new ideas, new ways of being, seeing, operating.
Mhm.
And it's almost like an unopened gift that we all already have.
I like that. Putting the edges around it, putting the edges, and it's like, it. And it's kind of like sitting with someone who's really wise. And so really the tool, the technology is enabling someone to kind of sit down and have a conversation with you. Really, because you put your thoughts, your questions, your follow-ups into the tool. And so it's a really great way. And I know it's tech and it's AI and all that, but it's really Dawn too. It is you. And so even some of the words that came out, I was like, oh, that's totally Dawn. Like
Yeah.
that's how
I love hearing that too. Yes. Yeah, because it is intended to be truly, as you said, a conversation. I think that is what is easiest for us, even just as humans, to not just connect with others, but connect with ourselves. It's like hearing words vibrate in our own skull also influences how they begin to manifest and how we begin to visualize them. And I know you do a lot of work here in this field as well. And being able to put these ideas into concise words is, I remember when I discovered I could not really articulate it because it's like, this feels like magic being so directional, but it's mine. And God, I want to say it was like 2018, 2019 when I first discovered the power of this type of vision. I was like, oh, this is where everyone is joined together. Like all of the slogans, all of the empowering healthcare access to all
Yeah.
as a vision. It's like, that is what people connect with. No one's connecting with, we have these 5 projects downstream and we have these KPIs and OKRs. Nobody even knows what that is. But imagine applying that to yourself, having that on your wall, having that on your phone background, having that in your car, in your bathroom. It's like, you can't not become it as soon as you put it in front of yourself for long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything.
Yeah, it's like you want to take it out, put it up, have your vision where you see it all the time. And it offers like this phone background. You make a screen for your phone at the end, which is such a great idea. Just have it visual and visible and ready for you. You know what? As I was thinking about how that conversation felt, like I did it while driving. I just pushed the talk button and just talked it out. And
Oh,
so
really?
I'm talking to a friend. But you know what I think would be really fun? If I could make a recommendation to anyone listening, I would light a campfire and I would sit down and do it at a campfire because to me, those are the best conversations when you sit at a campfire and you just sit there for like a good 45 minutes at minimum with the person next to you, just chatting out what about this?
Yeah.
And what about, how are you going to link it together with your family? And what about your purpose? And really, is that how, like, just that kind of like good conversation? I would take the clarifier with a campfire. I would make that
Ooh.
campfire clarifier thing. That's my recommendation. Take it or leave it. You're listening here on my podcast, so that's my 2 cents about it. But yeah, I mean, I did it while driving, but I would notch it up and light a fire and do this real relaxed setting. Get your favorite, s'mores or something to drink or whatever you like at a campfire and just make it chill.
Yeah.
And that would be my neuroscience boost to this thing, is just get your body in that relaxed state, whatever that looks like. So
That's a great idea.
Mhm.
I'm going to do, thank you for that recommendation. I am going to do that next time I'm out of a campfire.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
You're
you're gonna
right. Because what immediately comes to mind is everyone who's taken it thus far, at least from what I know, has been in more of a I'm sitting at my desk working type of posture. And that has its benefits, but then there are also its limitations because you are literally in a different posture when you're taking it at a desk versus out on a walk on your phone versus in a car versus at a campfire. I'm okay. You've given me a whole different suite of
yeah.
things to think about in terms of clarifier locations.
Well, and this is a fun thing about conversation because we're going to have the two. This is a Dawn Christine mashup of how this works
Oh,
because we're not too dissimilar in what we do, but like your tool, your AI tool is just so cool. And then like what I do is I help people get into like these states of mind that help them like access that like dreamy, really cool, like creative out of the box. And you did that and gifted and talented and you know this whole thing about creative thinking. But the cool thing about that is when you're getting your body relaxed, your mind can get into that place. Number one, where you get more oxygen to your brain, you can think your better thoughts. And number two, where you can, the theta waves get you more creative. And so that, yeah, if they can pair relaxation in this whole thing, and you already said, like, have the conversation. So I feel like you're already guiding this, but yeah, like hot tub, campfire, long walk,
yes.
thoughts, talking, if you have a Bluetooth shower speaker, I don't know, just like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
all the places where you're just like,
Oh,
brain off, go for it. So
oh,
it's a really good tool for really just talking through your goals. There are a lot of different ways to get there. And I think just talking through it was so powerful. And it did feel like you were there in a sense because you put your words in there. I'm trying to remember the word you used a lot. Was it claim? Did you say claim a lot in it? I'm gonna,
hmm. There was definitely a lot of programming
yeah,
that went into it.
we're gonna build on the foundation. A lot of
Yeah.
that. It was really cool. I
Yeah.
really liked it. So I'm a fan. I think everyone who's listening to this would benefit from talking through their goals with Clarifier. And then, so when people do the Clarifier, so then what happens? Like, do you have tools and ways that they can get more help? Like, where do they go when they're done? Or-
Yes. So there's a few different routes that someone can take. So I'll just mention right off the top, there are the folks who will take the clarifier and do nothing with it. There's insight that arrives and perhaps they're still not ready. And so like, okay, this was interesting. Then there are the folks who say, okay, now that I have this right, I need to do something about this. Where do I go next? And a few different things can happen. So I am beginning to offer group coaching, which specifically is going to take the clarifier and goes deeper into the fields of money, relationships, your day to day, and growth. How
Yeah.
those four areas of your life are going to serve and feed up to that larger vision and aim that you would set. So if one of my aims was to build a fully integrated life and work so that
Mm,
I can't really tell the difference between when I'm working or when I'm not. If I'm writing about travel, that's actually for work. If I'm speaking to someone at a food tour, well, that's my life, but it is also my work as well. So that was my objective, to integrate that. But then actually breaking down what changes need to be made to my finances, my relationships, my day to day, how I show up and operate, the areas I need to grow in order to be in service of this larger vision. So it takes it one layer deeper. Separately, though, there are going to be folks who, for example, say, my vision is to, upgrade my relationships. And that includes my closest partner. And I have conversations with those folks and I help them with, okay, I have different communities that I can introduce you to, that if there aren't resources for you there, these people know where they can find the other resources for you. So I'm also a connector, because it's essentially, for lack of a better term, it's triaging. Where does someone need to go? Do you need a coach? Do you need a consultant? Do you need an advisor? Do you need a lawyer? And so the clarifier helps identify, okay, where can you get resourced to bring your vision to life.
That's awesome. So you're a connector, and then so you've got your group coaching, and then you have individual coaching, and you can give more
Yes.
individualized feedback in the individual coaching. And then in the
Yes.
group coaching, it's more like they're going to be doing their own path, but you'll be providing kind of overarching principles
Correct.
and kind of a path forward there. And then the
Yes.
clarifier itself, anyone can use anytime, and it's free, which is so cool. And it's like having a conversation, going on a walk with you, sitting at a campfire with you, chilling out, and in your favorite, go to the hot springs across the world somewhere and
Mhm.
sit down with Don
Yes.
Rauzelle. So
Yes.
that's so
Yes.
fun. I love it. Just chilling out. So
Now,
tell us where you are, and then where are you going next? Let's get a little
yeah.
picture
So
snapshot.
so
Where
right now I'm in Hanoi, Vietnam.
Okay.
A place I never thought I would go.
Mm.
Never even on the radar. I've been learning so much here. I'll actually come back to one of my biggest lessons. After this, we're going to be in Tromsø. I think if I'm saying that right, Tromsø, Norway. So
Ooh,
it's in
that
the northern part of Norway inside of the Arctic Circle. And so the sun, I want to say it doesn't set between like May 25th and July 18th or something like that in that window.
okay.
And we're going to be there during the month of June. So leaving Hanoi, our last night in Hanoi is my last night for the next 30 days,
Oh,
which
cool.
I'm a little bit nervous about. Like, what am I going to expect? I'm going to, layer on the eye masks, but I'm excited to see how does being in perpetual sunlight actually affect me. I literally don't know anyone from the Arctic region, not personally. So I'm really excited to talk to people from that region. Like, what's it like? Do you miss night? And during the polar night in December, do you miss the sun? What are your worldviews? What are the things that influence you up here? Like, I'm so extremely curious about it. But one of the biggest lessons I've gotten from Hanoi, I'm realizing, is so in Hanoi, one of the things that you wouldn't necessarily notice if you just get a car or you're getting Ubers, they have this thing called Grab, which is the Uber
Okay.
of Asia.
Okay.
You wouldn't really notice it. But if you rent a scooter or you go out walking around, you'll notice that traffic is extremely chaotic feeling. The difference is that what I've noticed as I've begun to scooter and use our motorbike through traffic is that in Hanoi, they move very differently than we do in the United States because no one is actually in a rush, which is very different. So back home, I'm very used to, there's always someone who wants to cut in the line to get to the front of the light. There's always someone that's trying to get to the front of a pack of cars.
Yes.
In Hanoi, it's extremely chaotic. And I'll talk about this on my Substack, but there's this sense of flow, of going with the flow, because literally, if you do not, you will wreak absolute chaos.
Okay.
Absolute chaos. And when I compare that to just natural law, if you imagine water pouring down a mountain, the water at the top of the mountain is not in a rush to get ahead of the water that's at the river delta to beat it to the ocean. It doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
And in Hanoi traffic, as chaotic as it all feels, there's this sense of knowing that everyone is trying to get to where they're going. No one is trying to get there first. And that has been a very big shift in terms of how I identify myself, even among a crowd of strangers, because no one is necessarily out for themselves. They just want the entire flow to continue to move. So that has been a very, very big lesson. And especially as I think about the work that I'm doing, where I want to go, even the pressure that I sometimes put on myself to be doing more, it's no. The water always makes it to the ocean eventually. You just got to stay in the water, stay in the flow, and you'll keep moving. So we'll see what else evolves from this. I'm definitely going to write a Substack article about this.
I love that. I love the idea of not rushing. And of course, I've got kids, I've got 6 kids. And so,
Yeah.
but me first. And so we do the whole like, well, the last shall be first and the first shall be last and all of that stuff. And, but I love that. We're just going together. There's no rush. And really, truly, like, all we can really do is ourselves. It's a really good picture.
Yeah.
I can just do me. And does it matter if me doing me is different than them doing them? And I think this is going to be really good. I would love a copy or like a ping. I'm on your Substack, so I'll get a ping of it, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I want to read that. I can't wait to see what kind of insights that you bring to that, because I think that's a needed message. And I'm kind of done with the comparisons and the looking left and right. And yeah, it's like you just want to maximize who you are and where you're going and your own purpose. And so I love this tool that you've created. And I love that you talk about you're finding your own purpose and really getting clear on it. And are you making time for your life? And I think my favorite thing about what you do is that you're taking these corporate, I don't know if it's my favorite, it's something I like, is the way you're taking the corporate ideals that a lot of times is just really, truly available to people who have the resources and who have the ability to pay, tens of thousands of dollars for a day of training. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's great. But what a gift to be able to give that out and to truly just let that be this, like, to use the same methodologies to help people maximize their potential in this life. I love your mission. I think it's really beautiful. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing it with everyone here and with our audience of high achievers, half percenters, overcomers, ADHD visionaries. Like, we have a really special audience here who, like, in general, the people who are listening to this care about mission. They care about maximizing their mission. And so I think that everyone here is definitely going to want to hop over. So, yes, it's going to be great. I really think that everyone listening to this will benefit from clicking and just having conversations with Dawn as you're driving to work, as you're chilling out, just going along. And then, if you want more direction, going into the group coaching program. And then if you want that customized level of support, getting the individual. So is it all at dawnrauzelle.com? Can we find everything we need?
Okay. Yes. You can find everything at dawnrauzelle.com, including the Clarifier, my coaching programs. And if you want to learn a little bit more about me and where else I'm showing up, you can do that there as well.
That's great. So it's DONRAUZELLE.com, dawnrauzelle.com. Definitely get the Clarifier, have that conversation. Dawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Christine. This has been a blast.
I've loved it. Thanks so much.
This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and isn't a substitute for individualized medical, mental health, or professional care. Every brain is different. Results will vary. Thank you for listening to Hyperfocus and High Performance. If today's conversation helped you think differently about how your mind works, I invite you to take the next step. Visit think-time.com/podcast and grab my free training. Why can't I find a planner that works for me? If you've ever felt frustrated, judged, even by yourself, overwhelmed, or simply wondered why everyone seems to be able to follow a system that simply doesn't work for you, you're not alone. In this free training, you'll discover how your brain naturally approaches focus, planning, and productivity, and why many traditional systems were never designed for minds like yours, and whether neuroplanning could help you increase your opportunity to experience more clarity, calm, confidence, creativity, and meaningful progress with peace, not pressure. And if this episode encouraged you, please subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review so more brilliant, creative ADHD visionaries can discover what's possible. Remember, you don't have to become someone else to do what only you can do, because only you can be who only you can be, and otherwise there will be a hole in history. The path forward is clear. Love your design, then dream, decide, do, review. I'll see you next time.